Something killed him and left nothing but hair. A moved the dice to 666. Isn't that a weird one? My name's Randy Bauer. I'm 65. I'm a musician. I've never had a day job, and I also have a sound company where I provide the production for famous acts, little acts, whatever. This last weekend was Kentucky Headhunters, Bellamy Brothers, Daryl Worley, and a bunch of other bands. But anyways, say about 12, 13 years ago, I wasn't a believer in Bigfoot, non-believer. I wasn't anything. I never gave it one thought. And I'm big in the deer hunting thing. And after deer hunting's over, I'll always go back the next day. This is behind my house now. Go back onto the state land and by my deer stand and see if I can find where the deer go during the hunting pressure. So I'm doing that. I'm not bringing no gun or nothing with me, and there's snow on the ground. I'm walking back to get back by my deer stand. And something killed 3 deer. I could see where 3 separate beds were real close together. Something killed 3 deer in their bed and left nothing but hair. Now, this is overnight. Now, wolves, cougars, they don't do that. They leave a mess, blood all over, and there's bones scattered and rib cage or whatever, and they eat on it. Well, there was nothing. But right away, I think, oh my God, a pack of wolves. And I've got no gun. It kind of weirded me out. So I took a picture of it. And at the time, I had a new iPhone, not knowing what I know now. I'm thinking when I got home, picture was gone. Oh, I must not have saved it, not knowing what I was doing. And so I'm thinking it's a pack of wolves. But here's the thing. I didn't realize that at the time there was no tracks, zero tracks of anything, just the 3 deer beds. And something killed them and left nothing but hair. Not a bone, not a rib cage, not a spine, not even the hide, like the hair was plucked out. So I go home and I'm not thinking no Bigfoot Sasquatch thing. And in February, we're on the road and we play a lot in Nevada, the Western states full time. We get back and like it was like 12, 13 years ago, there was a lot of snow, so much snow in the woods, it was past your knees. So I knew it was going to be 40 below that night. I don't mean wind chill on the thermometer, and it would freeze real hard. So I took the snowmobile and rode back around all the trails back in there so I could walk them the next morning. And I'm doing that the next morning, walking because the snowmobile track was froze hard. I'm coming back around a corner back towards our house, and I come across these tracks. And after all said and done, they were like 17 inches long. They were in a straight line, not staggered. They were straight line, like bloop, bloop, bloop. They were 6 to 7 feet from each step. Now, if a deer would be jumping, every time it jumped, you would see some of its belly in the snow between each jump. There was nothing like that. They even stepped across the river. So I'm looking at them. I laughed at myself and I said, well, is this Bigfoot? You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at them. I bring my wife back there, and some of the band guys are still at our house, and they're looking at them. So then I'm thinking it is a Sasquatch thing, but I kind of ruined them at the time. I got my tracks all around them, looking at them. I tried to follow them. They come out of from the east. There's a swamp back there. I tried to follow them, but every step was past my knees, and I couldn't follow them that far. It was too hard. So I came back, and I'm looking at Bigfoot Sasquatch Minnesota, and I come across this site, SRA, Sasquatch Research Association of Minnesota. And they had a thing you could fill out and send pictures in. So I did that. Darn, it wasn't within an hour. I get a phone call right away. This is on a Sunday. And the head guy says, Randy, you got a squatch. And that's how this all started for me. And I was like everybody else. I'm thinking there's some big animal, big ape thing hiding in the woods. I don't know no better, and I'm doing the camera and the knocking thing and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I'm thinking they are. Well, I know better now. I've had a lot of action and they interact with me. They mind speak to me. They do things I ask. I've seen them 12 times close up, so close I could touch your cheek. Last year I gifted him 300. I went through 300 jars of peanut butter and maybe 25 to 30 bags of apples. I didn't count the apples. This year, since March, I'm at about 120 jars of peanut butter. And yes, bears do get them sometimes. When bears get the peanut butter jar, it's all bit up. I find it is ripped apart. The cap is broken half and bite marks on it. And there's still residue of peanut butter. Same with raccoons when they get it. the bottom is ate out, and there's still residue of peanut butter in it. When a Bigfoot or Sasquatch gets it, the jar is gone. But the caps, if it's a red cap, a brown cap, blue cap, yellow cap, green cap, they're laid down by the tree I got back in the woods behind the house here. All the colors are together, and they're laid by the tree. The reds are together, the browns are together, and they're in perfect condition. And the jar I do not find. If I do find it, it looks like it went through a dishwasher, and they'll bring it back and put it upside down in the branch of a tree, hanging upside down. So they don't do that a lot. I've got 6 of them like that around my area back in the woods here. Um, and they're like perfect condition. Now I don't go searching anywhere else. I don't need to go anywhere else because I got them here. They hit the house all the time. They do a lot of things. My wife has seen them. Terry's daughter has seen them. The grandkids have seen them. They've been seen 32 times at my place, and I've seen them 12 times. I've heard the Sierra sounds. They have said my name. I'll just give them a little bit overview of everything, and then I can go to specifics. They do the knocking thing. They are not hitting the tree with a stick. That is not true. They have mind speak to me. I got some names. They have said my name before. Where do you want me to start?
Yeah, your very first time that you had that very first encounter. Let's go into detail on that.
My very, very first one,
Yes.
I have double class A sightings. People say class A, so I have double class A. I'll tell you my very first sighting. People say you don't want to feed them because if you stop, they'll be upset, whatever. But that's not true. Well, that's not true for me, anyways. So I did some apples. Now this is back in the state land, not in the 40 acres where I'm living at. And back at the time, there was no fence, nothing. I could ride my 4-wheeler back some old trails and get back in the state land. So what I did, I drove my 4-wheeler. I carried aluminum ladder with me because I wanted to use some poplar trees and put them high up where deer couldn't reach them. And if it would be a bear, a raccoon, or any animal, poplar trees, the bark is soft. I'd be able to see scratch marks up there. So I bring 6 apples out there, cut them in half, bring the ladder up there, and reach out as far as I could and put them on branches of trees. So I had 12 halves, and I left my ladder out there. And one night I decided I'm going to set out here. So there's a deer stand by, and that deer stand, it's not mine, but it's up about 16 feet. It's high up. So I thought, and I could see those apples from where that deer stand is. Now keep in mind, now we're not on no public land or close to anything. It's landlocked. There's old farmers, and nobody goes back in there. It's hard to get in there too. And I got to walk a good 2 miles to get in there. So I sat in that deer stand. I'm sitting there. It's getting not dark, but it's probably at 7:30 or so in the summertime. I seen a black Sasquatch cross from one woods to the little 4-wheel trail into the woods to go to those apples. Now, did I get weirded out when I seen that? Yeah, and I said to myself, "Oh my God, them things are real," because I just seen it. But it was just a glimpse, and I felt really weird. And I sat there for a while. I didn't even want to get out of the stand, not knowing what they are like I do now. But I finally got out of the stand and I left. That would be my first sighting. Okay. What sighting you want me to tell you about? I could go on for 2 days and talk to you. So I'll make my stories short or kind of do an over thing of it. What do you want me to tell you next?
Yeah, people like to have lots of detail. So you just go into as much detail as you can
Okay, I'll skip
possibly tell me.
around. I'll skip around because I don't got some format I'm looking at. I'm reading
Okay.
date by date.
Yeah, just go into detail because people like to know, they kind of like to revisit this like right along with you. So the more detail, the better. Hi, I'm Linda Eastburn of Linda Eastburn YouTube channel, and I have a new book out called Threshold to Encounters. It's about 40 years of research and experience with all of these wild cryptids that many of you I know have encountered yourself. You can find it on Amazon.com.
Okay, do you want me to I know what they're not. They have told me what they're not. I know what they are. I know all that stuff. You want me to tell you the mind speaks I've had?
That'd be fine.
Okay, I'll go to that. Okay, I gift them peanut butter and apples out in the woods here behind the house. I got 4 nails in a tree, and I got the 2 nails, and I'll take the lid off the peanut butter jar, take the paper off, put the lid back on, and the 2 nails are like this here together, and I put it like that there. And then I'll take 4 or 5 apples and some bushes around the thing there. I'll put the apples. And then I've got that same area maybe 4 feet away. I got a racer board that they have stepped on and broke, and I got some marbles on it. I will put them in a design, random design, doesn't mean anything. I'll take a picture of it. And then I got some little wooden blocks. I'll put them in design, take a picture of it. Then another little spot. This is kind of in a half circle. I got some red pre-cut weed eater lines. They're pre-cut, they go in a weed eater. And I'll put them in design, take a picture of it. And then about 10 yards away, I got dice, a Rubik's Cube, and some popsicle sticks. Put them in the design, take a picture of it. I do this every day unless I'm out on the road. Like I was gone for 3 days. And I'll take a picture of it. When I come back, then say I gift about 5 o'clock in the evening, and I'll go back the next day at 5 o'clock. Peanut butter's gone, apples are gone, and all my stuff is moved. It takes fingers to do the stuff I'm moving, that they're moving. Sometimes I'll take my red weed eater lines and put them in 3 X's. And they weren't in X's the night before when I placed them. And they'll be perfect X's. Now, people think that's a big sign or something, or they'll move my wooden blocks. I'm going to tell you this here. There's times I put my wooden blocks, I'll call them Jesus crosses. When I do that there, they are destroyed. They don't like them. They are totally messed up. When I do regular designs, like a house or whatever, they might move a few blocks, but they don't totally mess it up. The thing where the marbles are at, they'll mess that up a lot. Just throw them off the thing there. Now, it isn't animals doing it like a raccoon. It's moved every day precisely. Sometimes the Rubik's Cube, it ain't just turned over to a different color. It's twisted like this. So it's cockeyed, still set in there. That takes fingers and thumbs to do that. It ain't no bear doing it or a raccoon doing it. And sometimes, now I know this is weird, but it doesn't always happen. They'll take 3 of the dice and put them 666. That's happened about 4 or 5 times in the last 2 years. Doesn't happen a lot. But a lot of times they'll take the dice and take them out of my design, move in a different spot, but change the numbers. Or sometimes they'll move my dice in the way they are, but keep the numbers the same. They'll slide them over. So here's what they're doing. I'm interacting with them. They're interacting with me. We're just having fun back and forth. This is, I got 7 years now I've done this. I do it all the time. My wife said, how long are you going to keep doing this? I'm going to keep doing it till I can't do it no more. And there'll be times I'll ask them, hey, do this for me. Block my trail. Block my trail where I either got to crawl under it or I got to go around it. And I come back the next day, there's no storm, no wind, and they'll block my trail. Now, just here about 4 months ago, they blocked my trail. I had to either go underneath it or go around it. While I went around it, and I found a big white hair, like that, on the end of a stick. Oh, I didn't take it. I'm going to intercept something here. The reason I getting so much activity, and they know that, because I am not trying to get evidence for the world. I'm just interacting with them. They're interacting with me. I'm trying to get to the next level where we have the one-on-one mind speak thing, which I've had that, but I want more of that. I don't do cameras. I don't go out and do knocking. I don't do whooping. I just interact with them, gift them, they gift me back. So I found this long white hair and I picked up and said, oh, look here, I got your hair. I'm just going to make my story short. And I held it up. Here it is. It's like 12, 13 inches long, white. And I said, I'm going to go tie it around this nail here. So I nicely tied it around the nail and I put it in a knot so it's hanging there. I said, here's your hair right here. Come get it. The next day I go back to do my gift and then the hair is gone. There's no animal bear going to take that hair. And so, anyways, I'm going to tell you my sighting where I get to touch their cheek. I did my gifting, and there's a deer stand out in the open, but maybe 25 yards where I do my peanut butter. I said, I'm going to sit in that deer stand. I'd like you to come right to me, and I want to communicate with you. So I'm sitting in my deer stand, maybe a half hour or so. All of a sudden, my eyes go out of focus, and I get really dizzy, and I say, what the heck? And I put my hands on my chin. I went down like this here, maybe for a minute or so. I get up. Oh my God, I'm dizzy. I'm still dizzy. Now remember, it's fall. So there's leaves all around, but I'm in the open. Oh, I'm still dizzy. I go down again. All of a sudden, there's a footstep right by me. I get up. Oh my God, there's a Sasquatch right there. He's like that close to me. We both look at each other. I could have touched his cheek. I could have poked it. It takes another step. I turn my head, see the back of it, and then it was gone. Poof, gone. It didn't walk off. It disappeared out of my eyesight. It disappeared. That's what I'm saying. Because I'm in the open. Now, if I would have kept walking, I'd have heard the leaves crunch. Only two steps I heard. It came to me like I asked, and it was gone. I've seen them come out of portals. I've had people with me that have seen it. I'm skipping around a lot, but what do you
Yeah,
want me to?
well, yeah,
Okay, let me say this.
let's give our audience a chance to hear a complete story. So tell me about these portals. Let's land on that for a minute. You have portals on your property?
Yes. Well, before I do that, the deer stand I was sitting in, there's plywood around it, and that plywood at the top of it is 9.5 feet. This thing was a foot taller, and it was a 10.5 footer. It was about that much taller than the plywood, and
Really big one.
it was
Yeah, really
black.
big one. Yeah.
It was a big one. Yes, it was a big one. Um, okay, the portal. Back on the state land, I had John Badger come to me. He's a good friend of mine. He had seen him at my place, and he's part of the SRA. So we're gonna go back to the state land, and I'm sitting in a deer stand. We both can sit in this deer stand. One I made out in the woods, just a little platform and some railings around it, not big enough for two people. So he's sitting in the chair, and I got to stand. My shoulder's touching his shoulders, and I'm standing. But about 50 yards away in the woods, he put a brand new camera, brand new SD card, brand new lithium batteries. I put a jar of peanut butter out there and some apples. We let the camera take a picture of us for the timestamp. We go to our deer stand, we crawl up there, we're sitting there, and about 11 o'clock, it's so dark out that I can't see him. But to the east, I see a doorway. It is huge. It's like three or four doorways wide. We didn't measure, but it's tall, 10 feet tall, 15, whatever. It's really big. And it's looking like the northern lights, shimmering, yellowish, reddish, bluish, greenish. It's kind of shimmering, like the northern lights look like. I'm looking at it. I don't say nothing to John. I take my glasses off, run my eyes. Am I seeing that? Yeah, I am seeing it. I whispered to John, John, you see that? He said, yes, he'd been watching it too. All of a sudden, two big round balls, orbs come out of it, big like this. Now, keep in mind, there's leaves on the ground. This is in the fall, kind of cool out. They're walking because we can hear their footsteps crunching, crunch, crunch in the leaves. Both of them go over to where that peanut butter stuff is at. They're there for a minute or so. They come back. The first one is not an orb form. I can see the cone head, the red eyes, the shoulders, arms swinging back and forth. One behind it is an orb form. They go to that doorway looking thing. They go into it, all gone. We wait about a half hour in amazement, get down, go over to where the peanut butter was. Peanut butter's gone. The apples are gone. The batteries are drained dry in the camera, and we'd be at home. The SD card has nothing on it. Not even a picture of us when we set it up. Nothing.
Have you happened to measure the electromagnetic fields in that area where that happened?
I don't know. I never did no measurements or nothing like that.
Okay.
And here's another thing. I don't give opinions on anything. I just talk about what happened and my experiences. No, I'm not being smart aleck about it, but to me, opinions are just guessing. I'm just gonna tell you what I know. So I don't know how they do it, but they do it a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so you said you do mind speak with them. What have they told you?
Okay, I'll tell you this here. They have gifted me 40. I've got 44 deer skulls that they have given me, and that is 8 point bucks, little ones, spike bucks, fawns, does, beaver skull. And I know they have given to me because they'll be on the steps of my house. They'll be in my deer stands. I'll walk in a trail back in the woods looking for there's no structures and stuff. I'll come back and there's a deer skull laying right where I was just at. Well, there's nobody here hoaxing me and saying, Randy's going to go out today. I'm going to follow and put a deer skull down in CV. Finds it. Well, there's nobody doing that. I don't even talk to the neighbors about this stuff. And nobody knows where my gifting areas are at except for researchers that I have let come here. Okay. Here's what they told me. It was just fall. Oh, one thing. When I see them Sasquatches, that's when I'm not trying to see them. I'm not trying to see them or even thinking about them. This is when I see them. But anyways, I'm walking back from my gift in here, and I decided to walk through the woods to home instead down the power line corridor, which we live right by it. And all of a sudden it pops in my head. Oh my God, thanks for letting me know. Now I know. They told me those deer skulls are perfect condition. As you know, in February in Minnesota, a deer drops its antlers. Now, do you know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what happens to them when people go deer shed hunting? A lot of times you can't find any. Like this spring, I couldn't find a one. Do you know why?
No.
Because porcupines, raccoons, squirrels, mice, they chew on them. It's calcium and it's minerals for the animals. That's sometimes eat them up. You don't find them, or they're chewed on. All my 44 deer skulls, there's not a mark on them, and that's weird. There's no chewing on them at all. And I've always said, oh, people ask me that know about that. Oh, that's because Sasquatch got their smell on it. That's what I used to say. I was so far from wrong because those deer skulls were never laying on our earth as we know it. They're brought to me as a gift from wherever they can go where we don't know how to go. That's what they told me.
I see. So, I mean, I know you don't give opinion, but you've had lots of experience with them, so I'm sure you have some idea. Do you think they're like partial human? Do you think they're fairies? Do you think they're
Oh, I can tell you with that.
interdimensional?
Oh, no, I don't have to think. I know what they are.
Okay.
They've told me what they are. They are a people, they are metaphysical, they're interdimensional. And I'll tell you how they told me that. That is what they are. They are not an animal. They're not some big old ape caveman thing living in our woods or being in our woods and I go out there and I don't see them. They the same thing happened to me again. They told me what they're not. They don't live in caves. They don't go to the swamp in Minnesota when it's 40 below. They don't bury their dead. They don't do any of that kind of stuff. They don't live on our earth. They come to our earth all the time. They go in caves. They go in a swamp. They do all that stuff, but they're interdimensional. They come here. That is what they are. That is why for hundreds and thousands of years, nobody's really ever got any proof because they never will because they're not what people think they are. And there's no such thing as the woo or going down the rabbit hole because that's just what they can do. That's them. And if people need to start accepting that, they might get a lot farther. To get proof for the world is you have to do like what I'm doing. And you can't just say, I'm not trying to get evidence off you and don't mean it. It took me a few years to get to that point too. And they know that. And people start doing that and get the action that I'm getting, that'll be evidence for the world. If enough people do it, there's evidence for the world.
Have they ever told you when they go into these other dimensions, what those other dimensions are like? Since we as humans are not, we don't generally enter those places. So, have they told you what that's like there?
No, they have not told me that. Nope.
Do you think the
Nope.
Native American perspective, where they said they were kind of living in two worlds, then was
Is
correct?
is right on, is correct.
Have
That
you
is
ever studied
totally
that,
correct.
or have you ever studied that, how the Native Americans think that, or how their interaction was with Sasquatch?
No, nope. I haven't studied anything. I just going on what I got going here. No, I don't even hardly listen to podcasts or any of that stuff.
Well, what else can you tell me about the interaction that you've had with them?
Um, Here's another one. Okay, first of all, I got to tell you this first. A while ago, and I know you know him, Doug Hychek. We're good friends. A few years ago, he said, Randy, put a camera out there by your gifting area and just say this. Can we get a picture of you? But it'll only be for me and Doug, and we won't share it with nobody. So I said, okay, I'll do that one more time. I'll do that. So I did that, put the camera up by where I do my gifting. But then I said, if you never ever want me to do cameras here on this property, you got to give me some kind of sign that I'll see, that I'll recognize that you did it, and I'll never do cameras again. So I said that. I go home the next day, go out there, and there was a 15-foot, like 15-foot Y stick on my camera, laying right on my camera. batteries drained dry, SD card drained dry, no erased, whatever, no pictures of nothing. So I took that as a sign because I asked for some kind of sign that I'd see. Now there was no storm or nothing. That 15-foot Y stick is about that big around. It's part of a tree. It's not a branch, and it goes into a Y, and it's 15 feet tall, laying right on my camera. I took that as a sign, and since then I've never done cameras. And since that I quit doing cameras, my activity went up. And it really went up when I finally said, okay, I'm not trying to get evidence for you in the world. You can be here, come here all the time. And I just want to be friends with you. And a long time ago, the head guy from the SRA said, Randy, you got to start talking to him. Stop carrying that rifle. Because I always would carry a rifle with me, not knowing what they really are, you know. And I said, talk to him. He said, yeah, go out in the woods and talk to him. He said, it'd be just like me walking in your house. You're going to wonder who's coming in my house. So I did that one day. I'd say, hey, this is Randy. I'm just admiring your stuff and I mean no harm. And I just rattled on. I felt really dumb talking in the woods, but I did it. And he said, where's a GoPro camera? I don't have one, I said. He said, well, take your phone once in a while and just snap a picture. They'll look at you. You go past them, but you won't see them. So I did that. I get home, I'm looking through my pictures. Oh, I got 3 of them. I had 3 Sasquatches that I can see. 2 of them you can see pretty good, and 1 can't see as good. And I started, I said, oh my God, I got 3 of them here. All of a sudden, there was a loud pound on the side of the house. I mean, really loud. And I thought, oh my God, there's somebody at the door. I get startled. I'm home all by myself. I get up and start walking, and a female voice, it goes, Randy. So, oh, there is somebody there. I go there. There's nobody at the door. We live out in the country. You can't even see our house from the highway. There's nobody that do that can run off. So I get looking around, and there's an oily hand print on the side of my house where they hit it. So they said my name. One time, the guitar player, we got a trailer house in our yard. Some of our road musicians might be, you know, like Missouri or Florida, wherever. Well, we have a week off. They can't go home and come back. And he was setting out about 5 in the morning doing his smoking a cigarette thing. He come in the house about 8, said, Randy, I was so scared. I'll never sit outside at your place again. Something went through your yard. It was massive with a cone head, red eyes, and it sounded like the Tasmanian devil. So that's what he said. And I thought he was making it up. About a month later, we're off the road. It's in the summertime. Our window's open. Me and the wife, Terry, get woke up about 4 in the morning, and we hear 2 of them doing the, I didn't know what the Sierra sounds were at the time, going, kind of sounding like that. They're talking to each other. And so I called up the head guy of the SRA and told him about it. He says, Randy, go to the Sierra Sounds. Is that what you heard? Exactly what we heard. And I didn't know nothing about no Sierra Sounds. This is at the beginning of all this stuff started happening to us. And then the SRA guys, they were getting worried about all the stuff going on here. So for a gift, they bought me 4 or 5 security cameras that you could put in the house and look out the window. And they'd go right to my email. So I had one out of our bedroom window facing east. And one morning, my phone goes off from that camera. I look at it. Terry, this is in the morning. I got a dog that's forming. I can see through it, but I see its head, but I can see the body. I can see through it. I get ready to hand her the camera like this, or the phone, I mean. It goes off again. I look, oh my God, Terry, we got a Sasquatch on here. It is massive. I get ready to hand her the phone to see that. My phone goes dead. What the heck? I said. I go plug it in. It comes on 75% charge, and that Sasquatch is gone. It's not even on the SD card or nothing, but I still have the dog. The dog face looks like a husky face, but you can see the body and the outline of it. It's forming. I don't know what that is. That's a weird deal there.
That picture
Okay,
that
anyway.
you got behind you whenever you weren't looking, you just put the camera over your shoulder and took the picture, and you got the picture of the Sasquatch. Did that one disappear as well, or do you still have it?
No, there's a really weird thing about that. I can't think of her name. Raven Hawk, you know her?
I do not.
She's from Idaho. That picture was on my phone. That is her picture. I never put other people's pictures on my phone ever in my life have I done that. I called and talked to her finally this last year. She has never sent that picture out. We're both baffled at it.
So it wasn't one that you actually, it wasn't something you actually took behind you. It was just something that appeared on your phone.
Yep. Yep. It's not even my picture. And there'll be times I want to show it to somebody and it's gone. I'll go through every picture on my phone. It's not there. Then other times it's there. I can't explain that one.
So I've heard of at times that phones do have really odd behavior in areas where Sasquatch has been seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like randomly, phone calls will be made to people, that you don't intend to call or don't even think they have it on their phone number in the phone anymore. Have
Yeah.
any other weird things happened with the phone?
Not that I can think of. No, besides that deal. Not that I can think of. But anyways, I never said I wouldn't do a camera. I don't do it anymore anywhere, but I never said I wouldn't do cameras on the state land. So 2 years ago, I brought two cameras out. Now they like venison. And I'm not saying they eat it because I don't know if they eat it or not. When I find deer kills, I found 13 last year and they were fresh, but just the hair. It looks like the sheep wool. I got pictures of it. I got pictures of like 3 deer were killed. It's a massive 20 yards of hair in a line. You can tell it's been plucked out. There's no bones, there's no spine, no hide, nothing, just hair. But, anyways, I put a camera on a tree. I put another camera a ways on a tree, and both cameras facing each other. I put some peanut butter, some freezer burnt venison, open it up and stuff, and some apples. Okay, here's what I said. Okay, I said, I always say you guys, whether male or female. I said, okay, you guys, here's what I want you to do. This first camera, I want you to make it not work. I never wanted to ever work again, but I want the SD card to be good and the batteries not drained. And I want you to twist it. On this next camera, I want a picture of me that I set the camera up. I want pictures of deer, bear, and ravens going through here. Then do your magic. Take all this food and all this stuff, and I don't want no picture of you doing it. And when I come back to get the camera, I want a picture of me picking it up. I waited a few days, and I go back there. Guess what? The first camera is twisted, and it does not work. To this day, it doesn't work. But the batteries were good, and the SD card was good. Camera does not work. Second camera, when I get the SD card home, there's pictures of me on it when I set it up. There's picture of deer, bear, and ravens going through there. Then there's no picture of all that food being taken. Then there's a picture of me when I set it up. Exactly what I asked for, it happened to
Well,
a
that's
T.
interesting. And so you think that they're hearing what you're asking them to do and then they're following through and doing it.
Yes, sirree. And they don't need to be there. They can hear me. What I'm going to say is really out there. But if you wrap your head around what I'm saying, I don't mean you personally. What I'm saying, it makes sense. Nothing makes sense if people think they're just some big old animal hiding in the woods. Nothing, you can't explain anything. But if you open your mind up and hear what I'm saying, it explains everything. They know when I'm out there without them being there. They've been right by me and I didn't see them, but the camera seen them and they're standing right by me and I didn't know it. And I'll tell you about that one. But yes, that is true. Now, the next day, I told Terry's son, Tanner, that lives with us, let's go back there by that area there and let's just sit down. We'll find two dead trees and on the ground and just sit there by that area. And we'll just, I got a lot of energy, so it's hard for me to sit and meditate. But I said, we'll just sit there and shut our eyes and sit there. As soon as I'm going to tell you what he tells me, something happened to me. He goes, oh my God, that bad, dead, rotten dog, wet, bad smell. As soon as he said that, I get pushed off my dead tree. I didn't get pushed off hard, but I get pushed off of it. No, I didn't have that smell at all. Sasquatch does not smell bad. I know this for a fact. They put that smell in a person's mind. Too many times have I been around back in there when other people are with me have that bad smell and I don't. My smeller works good. It even happened with Doug Highcheck and Adam, his recording engineer guy. They had the smell. I didn't have it. They had the smell. I didn't have it. So that is true there. They don't smell. They can make you think they smell bad. That's what it is.
Well, I've heard of this happening, in lots of other ways. There's even technology that can accomplish that, I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about, some people talk about government cover-ups and things like that. Do you think that's happening?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. John Badger, not last year, the year before, seen a Sasquatch jump the fence. It looked like a sprinter with his arms, one arm ahead, one arm back, legs sprinted out. Okay. When he went, that was on a Saturday night, about 9 o'clock at night, still light out. Seen it, maybe 70 yards away. Seen it real good. So when he gets home, he lives over by Duluth. He sends me the GPS coordinates into Doug Highcheck. So I knew I wasn't going to see nothing, but I decided I'd go out there where he's seen it jump the fence. So I get out there, I'm in the open. All of a sudden, a small plane flies around me. He is so low, I can see his eyeballs. I could see the numbers on the plane and the whole works. In fact, I wrote them down. He flies around me. I wave at him. He doesn't even acknowledge me, but he's seeing me. He flew around me 8 times in the same pattern. So we got a friend, was able to find out the flight pattern. That plane was rented to come and fly around my place and then fly back. Now, that's what's happening there. I don't know. Isn't that a weird one?
Yeah, I've heard of, black helicopters flying over places where there's a lot of activity and people are trying to get, evidence of things and people being told not to tell or to talk about things. So, yeah, it does seem like there's an issue there.
Yeah, and about 15 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, I had nothing to do with no Sasquatch stuff. There was some black helicopters flying back and forth across our land about 4 times low. I didn't give it a thought. I was just, what are they doing? I thought it was weird. And then if you were part of the program, I finally let Doug do this experiment. They had 8 security cameras out in the woods behind the house there with 1,000 feet of extension cord from my house and 1,000 feet of a Wi-Fi cable. And they were on 24 hours a day. And before one of the cameras was set up to the cloud, Doug seen 3 Sasquatches walk by. In fact, he almost got on his knees and was crying because he was so happy about it, but it wasn't recorded. But one night, about 2 in the morning, a black drone flies into the woods by those flying around in our woods out here where those cameras are at. Now, I don't know who can fly a drone in the middle of the woods at nighttime. Who would be doing that? Ain't no local people. So that's another weird one.
You've never been contacted or warned about anything though?
No, I never have been. No,
Anyone have they been?
no, nobody I know. No.
Minnesota seems to be a really, really super active area. I've done a lot of interviews from people up that direction. Why do you think that is?
I don't know why. Um, People say the reason I got so much because I got 2 rivers that come together in a Y in the power line corridor. I got lots of hair. I got 30 envelopes of hair, and I don't pick up deer hair, raccoon hair, bear hair. I know the difference. In fact, I got a bear rug on my wall. My hair that I got in envelopes is like that long. I've seen the red one. There's a white one here. Um, the she squashers have told me I got to be friends with them. They do that remote viewing thing. There's 20 of them here. I got names: Ralphophilia, Darawima, and Sushi. Now, I'll just Robin Haynes. You know her?
I do.
Yep, yep. Nice person. She
Hmm.
gave me the names. I'm going to tell you a quick story here. Last year, she gave me those names and she said, Randy, I told her what I want. I want to get way more than anybody's ever got. I want to have a one-on-one where we're communicating together. She told me it's a matter of time. But here's something I want to tell you. Remember the name Ralphophilia. Okay, remember that. Now, this year, Ryan Glenn, that has seen him out here and has lots of stuff happen to him. In Bemidji, Minnesota, there was this like conference or whatever you want to call it, with the um some psychics, tarot card readers, a bunch of people like that. Um, what do you call those bars you hold in? What do you and they'll show you where water's at? What do you call them things?
The dowsing rods?
Yeah, okay. There was a guy that had a dowsing rod little booth there, and Brian Glenn goes up to him. He says, "Can I hold them?" And the guy says, "Yeah." And automatically they turned right to him. And the guy said, "Well, that's weird." and there's a psychic channeling lady two booths down seeing it too, and she walked up to Brian and says, "Well, that's weird. I've never seen that before." And they got to talking, and then Brian Glenn starts to say, "Well, I got a friend." She said, "Yeah, you got a friend named Randy, and he's got a lot of Sasquatch activity on his property." And he didn't even say it, and she already knew about it. And so she says, "Come down to my booth. I want to hold your hands, and I want to do some channeling at Randy's place." And then she told him, "Well, they know when you're there. They know you." And she started, I guess, talking some weird language or something. And when she got done, "I got a name for you. One that's there all the time, that watches Randy all the time. His name is, it's a short name," she said, "for his real name." And Brian said, "What is it?" She said, "Ralph." There you go. Robin Haynes told me Ralph Ophelia. A year later, this lady tells Brian Glenn Ralph. So
Yeah,
that's not no coincidence there. Yeah, I know. It's
right.
not.
Yeah.
Here's another one. I brought some freeze and burn venison out there, and I got a juvenile hand reaching for it. You can see the fingers, the fingernails, the whole works. So Doug told me to go back there and try to recreate that so they get measurements and all that. So I did. Brian Glenn came with me. Terry's son Tanner came with me. Brian Glenn's got a white beard and kind of bald like me. Tanner's got a red beard, not bald. He had a hat on. I had never had taken my camera off that tree. And I said, "You guys don't ever go in front, just me." And so I'm laying in front of this tree. That was really dumb of me. And I had my computer up there. So I'd lay down trying to go like that, trying to just get the hand. I kept getting my body in there, which I should have been behind the tree, like it was. And so I take the SD card out, put it in the computer. Oh, I'm doing it wrong. About the third time, all of a sudden, Brian Glenn gets like dizzy, like I did, eyes out of focus. And oh my God, well, there's nothing I can do about it. So take the SD card out, put it in the computer, and guess what? I got a picture of the Sasquatch standing by us. I can see half the body, the arms hanging down. Our eyeballs didn't see it. We did not see it. It was right there. It's not no bear, because the bear's not going to come stand by us 5 feet away and we don't see it. And a bear's not going to do that anyways. The Sasquatch did, but our eyes couldn't see it.
That's the way it
So,
goes a lot of the time. In situations like this, it's like, we have such limitations with our five senses of what we can perceive.
right. And then they can be invisible. They can be right by you. You don't know it because they're interdimensional, metaphysical. Yes, they are flesh and blood. I'll be the first to say that when they're here, because they leave tracks and they leave hair and all that. I've got all that, but they're more than that. And they're not taking a stick and hitting a tree either. I don't know what they're doing, but they're not doing that. Too many times, like a couple years ago, I shot a deer and I dressed it out back in the woods back there on the state land. And I said, "Here's the heart and liver for you, you guys." The next morning, I go to my stand. I sit in my deer stand from 5 in the morning till 5. And I said dark till dark. I don't get out for nothing. They're not even heated stands. And I'm in the woods. I'm not on a field or nothing like that. I'm the old school hunter. But anyways, I get to my deer stand the next morning about 10 after 5. I sit there. All of a sudden, I get a knock at me, really close. I mean, like really close. And it didn't really bother me. But then I get another one to the left of me. And it did kind of bother me. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to get down there. They're here. And then I got one in front of me. Blop, blop, blop. That, just like that, 30 seconds apart or whatever, but close. And I sat in that deer stand about noon. I didn't even see a squirrel. I didn't see nothing. So I said, I'm going to get down and walk around where those knocks are at. And there wasn't one track, not one track at all. So they're not hitting a tree. Now, another time, me and John Badger was with me. We're back in there. And I say out loud, "Hey, can you guys give me some kind of knocking sound or something that lets me know that you like what I do all the time?" And all of a sudden I get a bass, 1, 2, 3, 7 of them. Now somebody told me in Morse code that means hello. I don't know if it does, but there was snow on the ground. We walked around, didn't see nothing. So then I went back the next day and I really walked around, zigzag back and forth, even got on some other people's land. Zero tracks, just some deer tracks and some coyote tracks. So they do not have to be there in the physical form to do what they do.
Yeah, I've
Now,
heard.
here's one thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
I said I've heard of tracks forming when you can't see a Bigfoot, but you can see the tracks going down in snow right beside as you walk along beside them.
That's
But you
true
can't see the
because they can be
body.
invisible. Yes, that's true. No, I got pictures of this year. This winter, they hit the house. A track, a track, a track, a track. The snow before that is in perfect condition. Snow after that's in perfect condition. There was no wind that blew the other ones in, and they hit the side of the house. Wham! They always leave oily fingers. I got lots of oily finger streaks on the side of the house. Okay, I'm going to tell you some really weird ones. Well, this is getting weird. Um, what can I say? Well, I'll tell you what I want to say after it's all done. But did I lose you?
No, no, no.
Oh,
A lot of people connect these with UFOs. Have you ever seen any UFO activity out there?
one time, only once, and I could have taken a picture, and I didn't think about it. I keep saying it. I don't see it no more. I just white screen says getting started, but I'll just keep talking. Are you there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So my one granddaughter, she's 18 now, but she was seventh in the world in break or calf roping and poles. But anyways, in Bemidji there, I went to the rodeo, and I had the 11-year-old and the 6-year-old with me. And I bought a laptop computer that day. Terry's not home at all, by myself. She's up working on this island in Lake of the Woods, Minnesota, or Lake of the Woods on an island for the summer. Anyways, we go to the rodeo. It rained really bad that day. And so Rachel, my daughter, said, Dad, can you take our 1-ton truck and big trailer and come back with 25 bales of hay in the morning? I said, yeah. And you just leave your pickup with us. So I did that. We get home about 10 at night. I go up to the door. Oh, my door is locked, and I don't have no other house key, and Rachel's got it. So and I got the kids with me. So I find a pry bar, and I get the door open. I kind of wrecked it a little bit, but I get it open. We go in there. I put the computer down on the table in the dining room. My hands get wet. I said, what the heck? I turn the lights on. Something came in the house with the doors all locked, took an ice cream bar out of the freezer, opened it up. It melted in one spot, but the stick was on the opposite side of the table. And it's not like the stick slid over there. It was picked up and put on the opposite side of the table. Now, if I'd have got an ice cream bar at 6 in the morning, I would have ate it. Now, if I didn't eat it, I wouldn't open it up and leave it lay there, and then the stick would be on the other side of the table, correct?
Right.
Yeah. So I get the kids to bed. Well, this is going to get worse. There's two parts of the story. It's going to get worse. I get ready to go to bed, grab the covers, and they're all wet. They come in there or whatever, pissed on my bed, all the way down to the box spring, mattress, everything wet. I couldn't even sleep in that bed. I had to sleep on the couch, bring all the covers, bedspread, everything down. And it was on right all the way to the box spring. It was bad, and it smelled so bad. Okay. A week later, on our bedroom door, got little French glass doors, windows, I mean. So when there's so much weirdness around here, I always lock the bedroom door. I'm still home by myself. All of a sudden, I wake up and I can't move. Okay, before that, by the bed, there's like a hamper. It's about 4.5 feet tall. And I just throw my clothes up on that. But I wake up and I can't move. But the door handle is clicking back and forth. Click, 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 click. I hear it, but I can't move. But I'm awake. And after that, I must have dozed off then finally. The next morning, I go grab my clothes. They're all peed on again. The same exact thing. All peed on. My bedroom door was still locked when I got up. So if I was to give opinion, what I'm thinking is because I was peeing out in the woods all the time, they're just getting me back, I guess. I don't know what else it would be.
So
Now,
you
here's
think
another couple. Go ahead, sorry.
do you think that was directly related with a Sasquatch?
Yeah,
Okay.
because they've been in my house the third time too. I'll tell you about that in a second. I'll tell you some other things that the Sasquatch has done. I think it's the juveniles just messing around. Okay, here's another thing they've done. We got a big John Deere lawnmower. It's an older one, but it weighs 900 pounds without the deck. It's got a steering wheel, but all the wheels turn and all that. I get done mowing lawn. I park it up by the dog kennel, so it's facing east. You can't push the thing. The brake is on. I go in to eat a sandwich. I come back out. It is 75 yards away, facing north and south. That's within 20 minutes.
I've
They're
heard of
messing.
situations like that where things are moved, heavy things like that are moved. I knew of a big tractor that was very heavy that was pushed into the side of a building once.
Yeah. Well, this wasn't pushed because it was facing east. They moved it 75 yards away and it's facing north and south.
You think it
Here's
was
another
picked
thing.
up and moved,
It
or
had to be picked up or whatever they can do. Yeah, it had to be because you can't push it. And the brake was still on. So they, but however they do it, I don't know if they pick it up with their arms. I don't know that. I never seen it happen. Here's another thing. Back behind our house there's a creek called Spring Creek. And there was a deer trail to it, but sometimes it's not real wide. There's a log across. I could sneak through that trail and cross that log. But there was a bunch of brush and some trees and little saplings and stuff in the way. And some bigger ones, no, not real big, but like tag altar, willow kind of brush. So one Saturday by myself out there, I cut out all the stuff, cleaned the trail out really nicely. And I piled all the stuff about 20 yards back farther in the woods in a nice pile. I didn't just throw the stuff here and there. They really got me in this one. On Sunday, when I came back there just to check out my work and stuff on the four-wheeler, all that brush was taken out and put across my four-wheel trail in a nice pile. It was about 3 feet tall. I just laughed when I said, "Oh, I just laughed. That was funny. You guys really got me on that one." That's what I'm talking about. They interact with me all the time, doing stuff like that. It's the young ones doing it, but I'm telling them to do that. I'm asking them to do stuff for me. I'm asking them to come to the house all the time because I'm not scared of them. I say, come up to the house or hit the house, have fun, do stuff, do whatever you want to do. I said, but here's two things. I bought this camper, just an old thing. When I'm doing an outdoor concert festival, doing the sound for it, I need to be by the stage overnight. I don't want to go to no motel room in case it rains. I need to be there. Somebody messes with stuff. I'm there. So I bought it and I had the door facing south, up by the woods line. Well, Terry's daughter Samantha has seen Sasquatch before. In fact, she won't walk in the woods with me no more. She's too scared. In fact, either with Terry's son, either with the grandkids, and they've seen them here too. But anyways, she wanted the door facing down by the garage, so it'd be facing north. So I get it down there. I call Terry out. I said, I got the door right. She said, no, I don't think you do. She don't want it that way. I said, yeah, she does. So we're discussing it. She wants it that way. Then I go to my daughter's place, get the big tractor and mow in their pasture. I come back about an hour and a half later. They're in the house. They got scared. They heard a big bang. We got a golden retriever, two of them. And the Annie, the golden retriever, pulled Terry right back in the house, got real scared and pulled her right back in. And Tanner heard it from in the house, like a loud bang. So I looking around the garage and all that, I don't see nothing. Now, keep in mind, this camper was in good shape, just older. I happened to go by the door, and guess what? There's a big, huge dent by a big fist on the side of the door, right by the door when I was talking about the door. And I look around, and there's 7 finger streaks on the back of the new garage, like it's got tin on it. It's like they went blah, 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 all the way across the whole thing. So this will be opinion. They must be letting me know, hey, don't matter where you put the door, we can still do something. Because that's what we were talking about. Well, a few days later, Samantha, okay, before that, what happens when you take a camper off the back of a pickup, ball of a pickup? You crank it off, you put it on a block, you crank it down so it's level, correct?
yeah,
I always use a cement block. About 2 a.m, they're sleeping in a camper. Samantha calls our house, and the camper's right in the yard, and they're all three scared as heck. They say something's been hitting the back of the camper and shaking it back and forth really bad. So they come in the house after that's all said and done. And the next morning I go out there. They shook it so hard they took it right off the block and it was down into the dirt, the jack. And there's a bunch of knuckle marks all over the back of the camper that was not there before. So here's what I said. I said, okay, you guys, I like what you're doing. Keep having fun. Come to the house all the time. Do what you want to do, but quit hitting the camper. You're putting dents in it and you're scaring the girls. And ever since I said that, nothing has ever happened to that camper. Now, I
Have
got
you ever
about
asked them
22.
to, have you ever asked them to do something they didn't do?
Oh, what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, have you ever asked them something and then you realize that they just, didn't accomplish that or didn't uh
No, no. Anytime I ask them to do, I'm talking about little things like one time I asked them, hey, bend some small saplings over my trail where I go to do my gifting. And they did. There was no storm that night. They did. And then one time I said, on this bigger trail here, bent some saplings over. And you know what they did? They bent one over facing east, one facing west, one facing east, one facing west. And then they put an X in the pine tree. I have lots of structures, lots of them. Teepees, small teepees, X's, A's. And the A's looked right out of the Blair Witch Project, kind of scary looking. Really weird. In the middle of the woods, you find an A, and a perfect A.
let's go back to that 666. Now, where was it that you saw that, and why do you think that they left that mark?
No, that's on my. I got 4 or 5 spots back there where I got little trinkets, and one of the spots is dice.
Mhm.
They moved the dice to 666.
Do you think that
They did
was
that.
do you think there was any kind of a message at that?
I don't know. I don't know. They've done it twice. It's happened 2 times. And
Well, I think that's really interesting. You have some of the most interesting stories that just fascinate me, that all of these things have happened, and it seems like a lot of stuff is going on up in that Minnesota area, and especially around Doug. He has some just really interesting things. I've interviewed him and a lot of other people that know him, a lot of people that do research with him. So,
yeah, but
um,
here's the difference between Doug and everybody else. All those people are going to different spots. This is all happening at my house here.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not going, oh, I got this evidence over at this spot 100 miles away. I'm going to this spot 50 miles away. No, it's all behind in my woods here.
How much land do
The
you have
reason
here?
why is the reason I'm getting so much is because they trust me and they know I'm not trying to get evidence for the world. That's when it all ramped up.
Exactly. How much land do you have there?
Oh, it's just 40 acres here. But I can go across the river and there's a lot of land back there, state land, but it's landlocked. There's farmers around this. Nobody goes back there. Nobody even hunts back there except for me. I'm the only one.
Hmm. Yeah, so there's quite a few reasons that they would come in and go from that area potentially. Well, Randy,
Yeah,
I
and I don't.
really go ahead.
Also, when they were doing those cameras, Doug and them, I got lots of pictures of orbs floating through. Lots. I even got orbs coming out of the ground, going sideways, going up, going back down, coming. The craziest thing you ever seen.
Yeah, orbs seem to be in close proximity often to wherever there is Sasquatch activity, as well as UFO activity. There's just a huge amount of orbs. It seems like a lot of people are seeing those these days.
Yep. And I'm not putting anybody down, but if anybody really wants to get farther in the Sasquatch thing, they got to stop trying to get evidence, and they got to stop trying to think that there's some big animal, undiscovered animal they haven't discovered yet, or giant, whatever you say that, giant, how you say that, the
I
big
don't.
ape thing,
Mhm.
Gynopithecus. Yeah, there you go. They are not that. They're a people. They have young ones and all that, but they're interdimensional. They don't live on our Earth, and we haven't found them yet. That is
Exactly.
not true. That is so far from the truth. And here's the thing. Here's what I come up. There's no, this is no insult to nobody. There's wannabe. There's believers and there's knowers. Wannabes are people that they want to believe, but they never seen one. Believers are people that maybe I seen one run across the highway 20 years ago, whatever. Knowers are people like me that have interaction with them all the time and they know what they are. That, and
Exactly.
I don't bring a bunch of people there that wannabes, that they want to believe, because it's not about coming here and all of a sudden you think you're going to see something you probably won't. Because when I see them, I've seen them 12 times close when I'm not trying to see them. I've seen them disappear in front of my eyes. Last December, I'm walking down the power line to go do my gifting thing, and I see a Sasquatch standing by the pole. Now, on our power line poles, 10 feet up, they got a black plastic wrap so raccoons and all that can't crawl past that. This thing is standing right by it. It's 10 foot. Top of his head is even with the bottom of that. That's 10 foot tall. I'm watching it. I'm walking closer and closer, maybe 75 yards away, and guess what it does? It disappeared. It's in the open. Poof, gone. It disappeared in front of my eyes.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to end our interview. Randy, I so much appreciate you coming on, especially at short notice as we had it. But you
Sure.
have a wealth of information, a different perspective than a lot of other people have because you've taken a different approach toward this whole subject matter. But I do appreciate your sharing every drop of that with us, and I find it absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, anytime you want me to talk, I will. I'm an open book.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. I'll let you know when this comes out.
Okay, yeah, so thanks a lot.
Thank you.